going to discuss what's a dissertation, right? And I'd love for you to put your comments in the section below, and we'll try to answer it, and we'll do an updated video of this based on that. Okay, so what we're talking about here is how should one think about one's dissertation? How should one think about one's work, right? And typically, most of the projects in our lab, we try to have three main pillars, is what I often call it, right? So there are often three main findings that you're going to try, and the combination of those three findings is the totality is of a scientific benefit to the community, okay? So what I think about is there could be three research pillars, okay? So 1, 2, and 3. And what they tend to also be built on, though, is a foundation, right? There's a foundational piece. Okay? And typically, this would be what you would write about. Okay? So when I say that, what does that mean? So a foundation would potentially be a first study that you run that it lays the groundwork for stuff. So for Mohan, the work that you're thinking about is virtual human interviewers. Can we use that to elicit information that would be otherwise difficult to with human interviewers, something like that, right? Okay, that's a foundation, because if you could find that, then you could find 3 additional findings on top of that that built on that to move us forward in some direction. Okay? So that's a foundational piece. Tends to be your first publication. It would be great. It doesn't have to be, but it would be great if you found this out to be true. Okay? And then you're going to come up with 3 things that built on that. That you now know that virtual human interviewers can elicit stuff. What do you want to study? You're changing gender and ethnicity, right? Is there matching or not matching? Does that impact things? That could be one thing. So you're looking at one piece of it, which is the messenger and changing it. There could be something else here. It could be the message. You could be looking at this research point, the dot, right? Where the elements, right? And that position, framing of your dissertation. We think today that framing is interviewers listen more information, and here's a blueprint on how to do it. It could change. It could change into something like, something else. I can't even think of it right. But you get my point. Is that that's what out. Lay out a plan of how can you get these research. Change that later. So we thought it was a foundational, and then it became actually number 1, and we found a different foundation piece. Don't fret. Okay. This is going to change. Every dissertation we've had this change. Okay? So, think about foundational piece. Put down your best guess, these 3, but they're going to be different. By the time you look back on it, they are the same, because you found new things to work on. Okay? Think about a dissertation in my group, in the way that we tend to work. Some basic find that other things will tend to be built upon. You look at these, they tend to be separate papers, but they could be all part of, you could get a couple of these within the same paper. That's why I didn't write down paper. I wrote down concept. And then once you have the whole idea, now you have this whole structure, that tends to be your framing of your dissertation. And it can be like a presentation or a publication, like a final journal paper. Do you have any questions on this?
No.
Okay, I'm going to hit stop. I'm going to post this to the... I hope that together. Now, the person coding and testing on the phones and stuff, hopefully is a postdoc that we hire. But then you and that person, he or she, you can be working with them. Hey, based on what we're trying to do, but you have to, like the aims of the grant, do put some boundaries on stuff. So you should read up on those grants, right? Which, even if you guys send that stuff. We can get you the stuff for this one, and then you can say, okay, within these boundaries, here's how I can play. Cool? All right. Without a good productive meeting, I do want to, let's see, this is Mohan. CRC is there. EB, you're going to support EBPI. You're not going to, we have to talk about VETs. I don't know where VETs fits in all of this. I've been writing them. It fits somewhere.
We'll have better feedback tomorrow in meeting.
Is the meeting tomorrow?
Yeah, weekly meeting. Or is it not tomorrow?
Which weekly meeting? Like verg? It is tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Just at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 9 a.m. tomorrow. All right. Now I'm trying to think. Bets. I've not put bets. It's actually under potential. So I'll put it here. All right, man.
I'm back from it.
I'm meeting with some professors. We're going to take a look at the lab.
How important is the TA?
Okay.
We're meeting around here somewhere.
Yep, 520. Yep. You here. The red key gets.
Alright,
Answer.
thanks.
Yep. Sorry, what's your question?
How important is having a teaching experience like TSU going in academics?
That's a very great question. It changed my life.
Okay.
to put it as mildly as possible. If you're in academia, I think it is very, very useful to have a TA position that is designed to get you to answer the questions that you are interested in. For example, passing grade, like below a C, like everyone's asked. I spent 40 hours because I made all my own slides. I really wanted to teach you graphics a certain way so that it's easier for students to understand. And I had this outside idea that maybe that's what I wanted to do. And that semester was unbelievable, right? Because after that, I was like, I want to be a professor. I really wanted, I liked being in front of the class. I liked teaching these concepts. That whole dynamic was fantastic. And I'm so glad I didn't choose the box, C++ box, because I wouldn't have had the same experience, right? I had a small class of about, I think, 20 students, as opposed to like having 100. Small class, created stuff, we had like, total success. But that was for me, right? I need to know what I'm teaching, this teaching requirement. So that would be the reason I tell the story. It's the same thing for you. When you think about a TA, what is your goal to get out of it, right? Is it improving communication skills, explosive component of teaching component of academia, right?
I want to understand, like, am I really interested in teaching component of that academia?
Okay, so then you should definitely do a TA, because otherwise, if you graduate and you haven't done it, then you start teaching somewhere. That also take a class on how to teach. They offer that.
Yeah.
Okay, you should have that class too. Okay, so that was one of the most valuable classes for me, because you think, oh, just because I have a PhD, I can go up and you've seen a lot of professors, and you're like, no, that doesn't mean anything. So you want to take that class too. Okay, so if you want a TA, I think it's great. Know that it takes up a lot of time. You can think about which class you want a TA for. Good example might be TA for the VR for Social Good class. I hangs on it twice. The spring, probably don't need to have him do it again, because he needs to get going on his research. And classes are. So that could be the TA in the fall, in the spring for the VR for Social Good. Just that. Okay, did I answer your question?